Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. Harry Potter rocks. Both the books and the movies were awesome. You enjoyed my last video of Easter eggs, so I'm back with part 2. While last time I focused more on the movies, Rowling loves to throw little Easter eggs into the books too. So this time around I'll focus more on the books with a few movie eggs peppered in. So wands out, it's time for the Top 10 Harry Potter Easter eggs, part 2. Number 10. Extra Trelawney predictions. As we all know, Professor Trelawney was not exactly the most highly respected teacher. Sure, she had the odd true prophecy, but for the most part she was just wrong. When she predicted Harry's birthday being in midwinter and he corrected her with July, it sounds like she got it straight up wrong. But Voldemort was born in winter on December 31st, so some have argued that this was her sensing and foreshadowing the remnants of Voldemort still inside Harry. But on the other hand, December 31st is still pretty early in winter to call it midwinter, and Trelawney's usually pretty crap, so I think this is more of a case of a broken clock is right twice a day, kinda like how psychics nowadays get by. If it's true though, that's a pretty cool little Easter egg. Number 9. Wait, what's my name again? In Half-Blood Prince, we were introduced to Horace Slughorn, the potions master who seems to only remember the names of his favorite students. When seeing Ron, he of course gets his name wrong, because why pay attention to some ginge when you have Harry Potter on your team? The neat little Easter egg here is that he called Ron Rupert, which, as I'm sure you know, is actually the name of the actor playing Ron, Rupert Grint. Seeing as the 6th book was written long after Grint was cast as Ron, it seems pretty likely that this was intentionally placed in the book by Rowling as a bit of a fan service. And this wasn't the only bit of fan service Rowling put into Half-Blood Prince. Number 8. Harry's Charity. In Half-Blood Prince, there was a character named Demelza Robbins. She was a Gryffindor who ended up playing as chaser for the Quidditch team. You may be thinking, Demelza, that's kind of a weird name even for Harry Potter. Or else you're thinking, my name's Demelza, I hope he doesn't call my name weird. Oops. But there is actually a reason for this name. Daniel Radcliffe, who plays Harry, in case you've been living in a hole for the last 20 years, is a strong supporter of the Demelza House Children's Hospice, a charity in London. So Rowling threw in a little reference to this charity in the books. Nice! Number 7. The production team gave their names to the film. In Harry Potter, we're introduced to a lot of names of people we never meet. Whether they're authors, artists, or a person in a portrait, the movie makers needed to come up with a lot of names. So where better to look than the production team itself? Many members of the team lent their names to one or several characters, slightly changing the names as needed. For example, Lauren Wakefield, graphic artist for the last 3 films, lent her name to over a dozen characters, including Loretta Fieldwake, Lawrence Wakefield, and Wakefield's off-the-record glow-in-the-dark gum. I'm so jelly. Number 6. Snape's Legitimacy was foreshadowed in the first book. This is one thing that I noticed when going back and rereading the books, and it's pretty neat. In Philosopher's Stone, Harry was stated as having a horrible feeling that Snape could read minds, which at the time seemed like an offhand thought, but after you learn that Snape actually can read minds, this comment suddenly gains a whole new meaning. I don't think he was actually reading Harry's mind then, but it was a cool little reference that Rowling put in. Some people say this was just a coincidence, but this seems too strange and too fitting to have been an accident, especially since Rowling had so much planned out from the beginning. Number 5. Mr. Weasley's Passcode. As we all know, the Harry Potter books and movies love to add significance to unimportant things whenever possible. Mr. Weasley's passcode to get into the Ministry of Magic was no exception. You may have noticed that the number he put in was 62442, which, when put into a phone, spells out magic. I just realized that younger viewers might not get that. Non-smartphones have letters attached to the number buttons. Maybe young people do know this, but I realized writing this has been years since I saw an actual phone pad, so there might have been some confused 10-year-olds. I'm rambling. Just take my word for it, it's spelled magic, which is basically the wizard version of making your password. Number 4. The Trophy Case. In Philosopher's Stone, Harry saw in the trophy case that his father James had been a seeker for Gryffindor, but the team clearly put more work into the case than necessary because it's chock full of references. First, you'll notice that another name on the plaque is M.G. McGonagall. Many believe this to be referring to Minerva McGonagall, the Transfiguration teacher, but since the award was given in 1971 and McGonagall had been teaching since 1956, it seems more likely to be referring to her brother Malcolm. Not only that, but the trophy behind the Quidditch Cup was actually Tom Riddle's award for services to the school, foreshadowing the events of the following film. Number 3. When you gotta go, you gotta go. In Prisoner of Azkaban, we were introduced to Buckbeak, the hippogriff that showed Malfoy what's up. When Buckbeak was first shown, filmmakers needed to make him look as realistic as possible. CGI was at a pretty good place at that point, and they wanted to really sell it. So what did they do? They made him take a big old poo. It's a pretty hilarious Easter egg because not only did few people notice it, but actually animating that little bit would have actually been quite expensive. They spent more than I make in a month to animate a hippogriff's turd, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Number 2. Lupin's parents clearly never loved him. As is common in books like this, J.K. Rowling liked to give the names of various characters some meaning, and with Lupin, she kinda went overboard. The more obvious bit is probably Lupin. As many of you probably know, it comes from the Latin word lupus. No house, not that lupus. Latin lupus means wolf. But it doesn't stop there. Remus was one of the brothers believed to have founded Rome, and he was raised by wolves. So by naming their child Remus Lupin, his parents were just asking for him to be attacked by a werewolf. By the way, if Ron Mackenzie Lafergie is referring to any scary monster, please let me know so I can keep an eye out. Number 1. This one's amazing and so very satisfying. In Philosopher's Stone, Rowling writes that the Weasley twins have been punished for bewitching several snowballs so that they follow Professor Quirrell around bouncing off the back of his turban. This sounds like a harmless prank, but think about it. What is under Quirrell's turban? Frickin' Voldemort! Fred and George were hitting Voldemort in the face with snowballs and there was nothing he could do about it. Now that is legendary. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please smack that thumbs up button and subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos. Did any of these surprise you? Let me know which you liked most in the comments section down below. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.